Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project, and my special guest for today is Brooke Rankin, who is Miss Global Australia and Miss Global International second runner-up. Brooke, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's always nice to have an Aussie accent coming back to me through my headphones. It doesn't happen often enough. Brooke, whereabouts are you coming to us from? Bearing in mind that half our audience is not from Australia.
Yes, I am from Melbourne, Australia. It's nice and sunny here. Adrian and I were talking that it's raining in
Can you
Sydney.
please stop rubbing it in?
It's nice in Melbourne for once. It doesn't often happen, but it's nice and sunny in Melbourne right now.
Can you tell people again from overseas, well, is it still true, first off, that Melbourne has four seasons in a day? Is that still a thing?
Yes, 100%. That's still a thing. I definitely, you have to bring a coat or you have to wear I wear a t-shirt or a singlet underneath everything, but I always bring a coat because you're like, I'm not sure if I'm going to need just a t-shirt today or am I going to be wearing a jacket? Because sometimes in the morning it's like, oh, I'm in a t-shirt today. And then but by the time it hits like 3 p.m., you're like, it's raining and freezing and I need a jacket. So prepare for every season, really, when you come to Melbourne.
And has anyone actually worked out why that happens?
I don't know, but if they do, please let me know because I'd really like some stability and to know what season it is. Like being in Bali and Fiji and stuff when I went there, it was just one season the whole time. I couldn't believe it. I was talking to all the locals and I'm like, so it's like one season here? And they're like, yeah, pretty much, pretty much. It rains sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still hot. Like I'm still in a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it's just the same. And I'm like, that just wouldn't happen here.
I don't know. But Melbourne, I love Melbourne, but the weather is so weird. Like the weirdest time I had, I was going to the airport in Melbourne and I was returning a hire car. And no joke, when I got out of the hire car, the heavens opened, dumped on me. I looked like a drowned rat. And by the time I got into like the where to return the car and do the paperwork, it was sunny again.
Yeah.
It had just dumped on me in the 50 meters of walking and made me look like a drowned rat right before I had to get on a plane. I looked like I'd gone for a swim in my clothes. So has anything like that happened to you, or that's just my
Oh,
luck?
times, heaps of times. I always have an umbrella in my bag, in my work bag, even in summer. Like I know it doesn't rain as often in summer in Melbourne. That's more of like
Yeah.
a coast thing where it like rains and it's still hot there in Brisbane and stuff. But I just take it anyway because it might look like it's raining during the day and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that I brought my umbrella, and then by the end I'm like, I am boiling hot and I need to take
Yeah.
off my, so just prepare for anything. It'd be so hard to pack for Melbourne. So I feel bad for everybody that comes to Melbourne.
We're doing a really bang up job here for Melbourne tourism, aren't we? Come to Melbourne, get rained on, and then boiled to death.
Our food is great and our coffee is great. I don't like coffee, but everybody says it's great. So it must be all right.
Oh, we can't have this interview anymore. You don't like coffee. We'll have clearly nothing in common. I will second that the food is great. I mean, as coming from Sydney, like I probably shouldn't admit it, but I do think that the food scene and the coffee scene, because I'm a big coffee drinker, I do think they're better in Melbourne, and also just the general like the entertainment scene. Like I love the Aussie
Yeah.
Open. I'm a tennis player, so you guys
Yeah.
have that. I don't know. Do you still have the Grand Prix, or was that changing? I can't remember.
Yeah, the Grand Prix just happened. Oh, I'm going to say maybe 2 or 3 months ago, but that was a really big thing. And it was like the first Grand Prix back for since COVID. So it was a
Oh
really
yeah,
thing, like, and same with the Oz Open, lots of tourists and lots of
yeah.
just locals going just anywhere because we've been locked up for so long. It was just like
Yeah.
everyone's just edging to go out and do something. So yeah, I think Melburnians are like over the fact that we've been
Yeah.
locked for so long and we're just like, nah, don't care, we're just going out no matter where. I don't even, don't even like the Grand Prix, but I'm going because we can go somewhere.
Well, I mean, I know you were watching my interview with Kristen, Miss World Australia, who's also from Melbourne. So before we get into the pageant stuff, let me ask you, how did you find the COVID years? I feel like I'm talking about some old TV series like the Wonder
I
Years, but the COVID years for Melbourne, for those of you who don't know, Melbourne had the longest lockdown or the most days in lockdown out of any city in the world. You guys had an earthquake as well, and your poor premier, whatever political leaning you have, fell down the steps of his Airbnb, broke his back. How did you find those 2 or 3 years?
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty blessed. I work in a hospital. I work at the Royal Children's Hospital, which is one of the biggest children's hospitals in Australia. It's quite well known. So I continue to work. I work as a pediatric cardiac technician and an admin team. So I was pretty lucky. I got to still work, and I still studied, but it was online. So I don't know, that sort of did and didn't work for me,
Yeah,
because I could do it in my pajamas. That was great. But it was more the social life. I didn't get to see family or friends or anything. That was really hard. But I became like a bit of a hermit crab, because now I'm not nearly as social as I used to be. I just
right.
like, it's not the fear of being social or any social anxiety. It's just like, I would rather sit at home and watch a movie, or save up a bit of money to travel or stuff like that. So although it was quite hard to just be locked away, and like the walking situation was so hard, my dogs were so fit though. And all that was really difficult. I actually came out, when I reflect back, I came out a better person personally. I like grew up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, so it was sort of a good and bad thing overall. There's so many negatives within it, but I found a lot of positives within myself. So it turned out to be a good thing for me.
Yeah. Okay. But hopefully it's gone for good now.
Oh,
As
is it?
good as it might have been for you.
Yeah,
We're
I don't
sick of you, like COVID. Just
I've evolved enough. It was enough was enough. By the third one, I was a little bit like, I've become a better person now. Let's just not do another.
I don't need to become any better. I'm plenty better. Yeah. Thank you very much. I got to ask you because I know that obviously you traveled for the pageant, which we're slowly getting to, and I know you just got back from Queenstown. I'm
Yeah.
about to travel for the first time internationally, well, the first time to get on a plane in the last 3 years. What's it like when you go to the airport and you get on a plane for the first time in like 5 billion years? Is it
Oh,
weird? Is it exciting? Like what?
oh, and I mean, going to Bali, Indonesia, it was the first time I'd travel actually alone. So I was taken back about how quiet Melbourne International Airport was. It was
Mm.
still a little bit eerie, and everything is delayed. Like there's so many, you've probably seen in the news in Melbourne and just
Yeah.
Australia, so many flights getting cancelled, so many baggages taking a long time, just flights being delayed. It was very much like that. Don't plan anything on the day you're traveling, because your
Yeah.
flight be delayed like 2 hours, and then you're going to wait an hour for your bags, and it was very much like that. But it was still so nice to get on a plane. Like my plane to Indonesia and back to Melbourne, it wasn't completely full.
Mhm.
But it was probably about 75-80% full. So it was really nice to actually see that and be like, oh, people are traveling. And when I talked to
Yeah.
Indonesian people, they were like, oh, we've really been impacted, especially Bali, being impacted by the lack of tourism, because their economy strives off tourism. It was really, really sad to see the impact that they've had, and so many people lost their jobs and stuff. So it was nice to see Aussies going back to Bali, because we are their biggest
Mm.
income, really. So it was super nice at the same time. But yeah, a little bit eerie at the airport. It was weird.
Yeah, I hope selfishly by the time I fly that my plane's not delayed because when you're flying 24 hours, the last thing you need is a flight delay.
Yeah, I hope so.
Um,
It's across for you.
yeah, what I was going to say is actually if anyone watching this, any Aussies want to travel overseas, places like Bali, and my travel agent told me Fiji, they're so desperate for us to come back that sometimes their government's actually subsidizing flights. So, travel alert, if you are looking to travel, you might actually be able to snap up some really good
Yeah.
deals at the moment.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about the reason you're wearing a lovely crown on your head. It's not just a fashion choice. It's not like I didn't have anything else to wear except this crown
Yeah,
and sash. So
working on today.
literally, I woke up like this. I sleep in this. What are you talking about? Oh, all right. So first questions first. Can you tell the lovely people watching or listening why did you get into the crazy world of pageantry to begin with?
Well, that's a good question. I've been a dancer. This is my 20th year. So I have been dancing for 20 years now. And that just being on the stage and presence on the stage and everything has always been a massive love of mine. I love doing and presenting to people and performing and just being myself. I've loved it for years. And then when the opportunity came that I got a message one day, I think it was from Miss World, saying like,
Mhm,
hey, enter this pageant, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I've never really done a pageant. I don't really know what it's about. So I looked it up, and I think that was when I was 18. And I looked it up and I was like, wow, like this is sort of seems like something I would be interested in. I'm the chatty type. I'm very
mhm,
confident. And when I talk to people, I'm open and stuff like that. And I love meeting new people, especially like minded people. So when I went and entered the Miss World, I just fell in love with pageants. I was like, wow, the sisterhood that you have with women and the things you learn from other ladies and just the pageants itself, it's a totally new world. And I was obsessed. So I did a few Miss Worlds and I did a Miss Tourism, and then
mhm.
I did Australia. So it was the first time that I'd done Miss Australia pageants, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a combination of Miss Global and Miss Intercontinental. So the 2021 that I competed in May last year was actually the first time I've ever done it. So it's the first time I've ever done something that is like a 5 day long pageant, and it was in the Gold Coast. And I just absolutely, the whole time I was there, fell in love with it. I was like, this is so me. I love being in pretty gowns. I love dressing up in something that I love. Like the national costume is my favorite section. It's always going to be my favorite section. And I just feel like when I was in Bali, I got really emotional when I did national costume. I like got
Mhm.
off the stage crying because I felt so much pride, and
Yeah.
I was so proud that I was wearing my national costume was the Australian flag. So it just felt like
Brooke, let
so
me let me stop you for a sec. I was actually going to get you to walk us through your national
ah,
costume, which I believe is this one, right? I might as well bring it up on screen.
yes, that's it. Yeah.
There you
So
go.
it's
So talk us through it.
Yeah, so it's actually not my costume. I actually, because I got crowned about 2 months before I went to Bali, which was hectic. It's actually the gorgeous Charlotte 2017 Miss Intercontinental's national costume. She's also
Oh
one of
wow.
my
Okay.
directors. So she competed in this internationally in 2017. So she is absolutely stunning and allowed me to borrow it because the global system hadn't seen it yet. So it fit me perfectly, which was a surprise because Charlotte is like maybe this tall.
I was going to say
But
it looks like this fits you surprisingly well.
yeah, yeah. But it fit me perfectly, and I felt like an absolute queen in it, and it was definitely a showstopper on the stage, and I just loved it. I mean, I was scared about the skirt because the skirt, if you see it in real life, it really makes a path in its way. I've walked past you, and it's still going for like 3 meters later. It's quite long and it's dramatic, but that's what I love about it. So yeah, but there was lots of problems on the day that I had to wear that. So there's always problems in pageants, but that's like a good luck charm. If you've got problems with your outfits, that means you're going to have a good time. I don't know, that you're going to do well. That's what I think. That's the theory I have.
Oh, well, I mean, it obviously worked for you because you did so well. I have to say, when it comes to, because I'll be going to Miss Grand Australia next Friday, I think,
I,
and it
yeah,
just gives me nightmares when I see you girls wearing trains. I mean, that's a train, and that's what I was going to say. It's a train
yeah,
and a half. That's like three trains. It's
yeah,
just a disaster because you're always so worried that someone's going to step on it, and then
yes,
if you walk when they're stepping on it, that it's going to be torn. I don't
yes.
know how you walk steps, walk up steps, get in a car, get in an elevator, do anything. What's it like? I mean, obviously, I'm probably never going to wear something like that, God forbid. But what's it like actually wearing something like that? How does it feel?
I personally love trains. I think it just makes a gown or a dress just so much more.
Yeah.
Um, But there is that fear in the back of your head, like, is it going to be stepped on? Am I going to step on it? Because when you stop at the points, you always have set points that you got to stop and you got to
Yeah.
pose. And with that costume, I had to flick it around or flick it in the direction that would work for me when I next stepped. So it was lots of training with the gown, with the costume, to allow it to work with me. And my other national director, Sophia Harris, she's the Miss Global national director, Miss Global Australia. She actually flew down to Melbourne, and on my final, just a few days before I left, we trained with that skirt. We maneuvered it, and she always said to me, you need to make the skirt work with you, not the skirt, adapt. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
practice a lot with it, and it worked out really well on the day. So it was all well and good, thank goodness. So yeah, I love trains, but you have to be in charge of it, not worry about it. You have to dominate. You know what I mean?
Yes, I can understand. I can't say from personal experience that I have much, I haven't worn much that has trains on it before. I mean, I'm assuming you don't get to wear something that has a train like this very often, do you?
No, no, never. That's the biggest train I've ever had. Like, even my evening gown, that wasn't as big as that, my national costume. So yeah, definitely did have to do a few practice runs with that one.
Perfect. Got a question here from Emily. Hi, Brooke. You're so inspiring. Lots of love to you. What are you most looking forward to in your reign?
Oh, I love Emily. Emily and I competed against, well, not against, I don't like to say against.
Competing with. You competed with.
Yeah, against is so harsh, and it's like you're my competition, and it's like, no, I don't see pageants like that at all. So I was
Yeah.
competing with Emily in MAP in 2021. She's in the Royal Court with me, and she is just so beautiful. And I was there when she won Miss Galaxy, so I actually flew to
Mm.
Sydney, and I said to her weeks before that, you've got this. And she's like, don't jinx me, Brooke. And I was like, in my gut, I feel that this is your year. So yeah, just loved
Did you
her.
hear about the disaster that she had at Pageant Week,
Yeah,
though?
yes, I watched the interview and I was like, I had no idea. You wouldn't have been able to tell. Like,
You must have jinxed her. It must have
no,
been you. You
I came
must
back
have jinxed
up.
her.
Like I said, there's bad
How
things.
is food poisoning good luck, Brooke? The girl was projectile vomiting whilst trying to get her photo shoot done. How is that good luck?
I could have never done what she did. Like that, I would have been done. That was it. I was so scared I was going to get Bali belly, but I never did. So like, thank God. But what I'm looking forward to in my reign, I mean, it's been so quick. Like all of a sudden, 2 months, I had, and then I was prepping, so I never got to really do anything with the reign. It was just basically preparing for internationals.
Yeah.
But I think that with Miss Global, I've been looking at a few projects that I'd like to start up because I am very passionate about speech pathology, communication, language, all that sort of stuff. I want to do something within the field, and there's a few things that I have going on in the background that are still in like the production stages that I'd like to do, because I have a huge passion for including everyone in communication. Everybody deserves the right to communicate. So that is sort of my main motto and what I want to do with that. But I really want to emphasize to so many people about the stigma that pageants have. When I talk to people, friends, especially Australia, when I talk to friends and stuff and they say about pageants and stuff, and they're like, oh, is that just girls that are like just so self-centered and they just love themselves and stuff like that? And I'm like, it's literally the opposite. It is people that are giving, they are so selfless and they want to do something in the world. And this is the platform that they're taking in order to do something about it. So, it enables them to have a voice. The crown, you don't even have to have a crown on your head, but
Yeah.
having crown on your head, it gives you a little bit more of a motivation, I feel. So I feel a little bit more empowered to do something with this reign. So I'm hoping to do a few things which will come to light soon. I'm still like in training for it. So yeah, so very exciting. But I know Emily's doing so much and she inspires me a lot. So yeah, she's a great inspiration and a fantastic queen.
I'm not sure about that. She said that she expects me to wear a train at Galaxy. So I beg, I
You
beg to
better
differ.
outfit that suits it, you know. Don't disappoint.
Oh no, God forbid I disappoint a pageant go. And she said, "Ah, ha, ha, love you, Brooke." Just to bring you back, you mentioned speech pathology. I've done, well, as you can see, let's bring it up. Your number 196, although I've done about 100 interviews before that, so we'll call it close to 300 interviews. You're actually the first girl I've interviewed, I believe, who's interested in speech pathology as a career. So, how did you gain that interest? How did you get into that field?
Well, I actually studied psychology first and then realized I
Hmm.
just want to do that. And then my brother, when he was younger, he couldn't say a few sounds. And then I always sort of had it at the back of my head that like maybe speech pathology would be a good idea. So I was kind of in and out of like looking at the degree and being like, oh, should I do it? Oh, should nah, I might be a dietitian, might be an audiologist. I always wanted to do something in health. It's just always been an interest, the body and
Yep.
anatomy biology, always been a love. So then I was just like, you know, I go with my gut and just do speech pathology. I'm sure I'll love it. And it just opened up so many things for me. I just thought it was something to do with, you know, we can't say our sh or a ch or a, you
Yep.
know, were, you know, that sort of stuff with kids. And then, but it's so much more. There's so much more to do with speech pathology, and they're in such high demand in Australia, especially. There is just people grabbing at students, you know, in fourth year. I know a few fourth years. I'm in third year, so I'm almost sort of finished. It's like my last theory year. But fourth years already have jobs, you know, back in February, March, because people are so desperate for speech pathologists. They're just in such high demand. And um, I just fell in love with the amount of components that are within speech pathology. You know, it's the voice, it's swallowing. So many people don't know that we actually deal with swallowing and eating, and speech, language, that sort of stuff. So it's been nice to have a view of so many different components of language, speech, and communication all in one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Don't know what happened. Was that mine or yours?
No, you remember we were talking about basically the floods that are here. It started raining again, and it's
Oh
reached
no. I was
internet.
like, oh, I have like 4G. I don't know what's going on.
No, I assumed it kept broadcasting, so I don't know. I hope you didn't do it. You just talk to yourself.
Yeah.
What did I miss out on? Catch me up. What did when I dropped out? What did you talk about?
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, how much that speech pathology has opened my mind to speech pathology is just like it's like the trunk of a tree, and then there's so many branches for it. There's
Mm,
just that is included in speech pathology that I never knew about. You know, we work with voice, we work with swallowing, which some people didn't know. Swallowing is a huge thing in hospitals. You know, AAC, which is augmentative and alternative communication, which is like when you see people with iPads or like keyword sign and stuff like that. So alternative forms of communication, and yeah, speech and language. So there's so many
mhm.
components, all those things that speech pathologists can enter and work within. So I love that there's so much variation, even though we're the same title, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I mean, it sounds like a fascinating field. I've heard a little bit about the iPad, the augmentation, but I'm certainly not an expert on it by any means. Where do you see yourself in terms of that career? Where do you see yourself going in like a year or 5 years or 10 years from now?
Yeah, so my ideal when I think of my goals in 5, 10 years, I would love to be working in a hospital. I think because I already work in a hospital, it's just well suited for me, but I'd love to work with adults. I've
Mhm.
found third year has been basically a lot more about adults. So I've really found an interest in people that either have Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, you know, people that have had strokes or traumatic brain injury, stuff like that,
Mhm.
and helping them either in acute care. So when they first had a stroke, you know, assessing them and diagnosing them with what type of what we call aphasia, which is like a language impairment,
Yeah.
within the brain, and dysphagia. It's all very similar. There's aphasia, dysphagia, dysphonia. They're all very similar. It's very confusing, but kind of being in the acute stage where we assess and diagnose, and but then also in rehabilitation. So, once we find out what's wrong, and putting together a treatment plan or a management
Mm.
plan, actually giving them the tools and the resources to fully commit to that, and being with them in that pathway to coming back to sort of a normality, and working with their families and friends to educate them
Mm.
as well on how to communicate with them, because that's half the battle, is being able to your family and your friends communicating with you, because if they don't understand what sort of condition or problems that they may have, then how are they meant to ask them a
Yeah.
question or respond in any way, because there's so many conditions with communication. We have no idea how important communication is. We wouldn't be able to interact, you and me now.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to talk, or even hand gestures or body language, facial expression, that sort of stuff. So that's also why I'm just so interested in it, because communication is just such a huge part of our daily life. We couldn't do a lot of
Yeah.
the things we do without it. So that's where I'd like to be in 5-10 years, working in a hospital, making a true impact on people that have been at their most vulnerable or been impacted
Mm.
by stroke or having Parkinson's disease. So getting them back on a path, or giving them a treatment plan to basically live an everyday life. So, be able to ask for a coffee at a coffee shop, or
Yeah.
just contribute to a conversation at all.
Mm.
So, yeah.
In that field of work, I got to imagine that it's like patience has to be a huge necessity, right? Because it's not like someone comes in, they have, let's say, aphasia or had a stroke. You can't like, oh, I'll fix you in 1 hour and then you're on your way. So
Yeah.
that aspect of it, I mean, that's got to help you put a lot of other like smaller niggles into perspective, right? When you're
Yeah.
dealing with someone who's lost the ability basically to talk, and then
Yeah.
trying to help them to get back to some semblance of normality.
Yeah, yeah, it does definitely take a lot of patience, and a lot of work and lots of listening,
Mm.
because we really work on what people like. A huge part of what we learn about is getting the goals of the person that has been
Mm.
impacted by it, they want to do. So if they're like, I want to be able to ask for a black coffee at a coffee shop, but they have maybe broker's aphasia, which is aphasia. We call it an expressive aphasia, because they can't put together the words physically to actually say. So they know what they want to say. It's almost like, when you get stuck with a word and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, I'm stuck and I can't think of the word. What's the word? And it's like at the tip of your tongue. That's them all the time. So
Mm.
teaching them and giving them the resources to be able to do that is so empowering as well. Like, you're making a real difference. So, and that's why I love it. I mean, I love
Yeah.
kids and I love what people do with pediatrics, but I just feel like being with an adult, and because they're so frustrated, sometimes they are fully aware that
Yeah.
they have a situation and they
Hmm.
just can't express it, and the anger that gets to them is just,
Oh
it's
yeah.
hard. So it feels good to be a part of that.
Do you find it? I'm sure it's got to be amazingly fulfilling for you if you can help someone, achieve even the smallest goal
Yeah.
in something to do with that. Do you find it difficult at all sometimes, though, when you have people coming in and maybe they've suffered an injury, obviously something that's not their fault, and you
Yeah.
can see the frustration? I mean, I'd be frustrated if I knew something that I wanted to communicate, but I just couldn't
Yeah.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd find that incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
Does that affect you at all emotionally when you're face to face, sort of in your daily work with people, sort of trying to get through that?
Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of the time people have a multidisciplinary team. So they're working with
Mm.
psychologists and they're working with, consultants and stuff like that. And they have plans. And we as a team, I'll consult with an OT, the doctor, the neurologist, that sort of stuff. So we all come together and we sort of know where they're at. And you also talking to the patient is the biggest thing. Lots of people will communicate their frustration, or you just can tell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's patience that comes into play then, and working around, setting smaller goals for them. They might be like,
Mm.
I want to be able to read to my kids, and be like, okay, Lord, let's start with reading a sentence. Let's work up to that, because sometimes people have huge expectations and they want to get back to normal straight away, but that's just not
Yeah.
possible sometimes. So, setting them and listening is a huge thing. So setting them smaller goals and listening to them makes a huge difference. And then allowing them to, because sometimes people haven't listened to them. Lots of speech pathologists that have years of experience express to me that, lots of the time, all the other disciplines, they just see the person for the medical. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, they've got aphasia because they had a stroke, or it's this and this. But they
Mm.
don't see the person as holistic. So speech pathology also work hugely on that, seeing them as a whole, not just the disease or the disorder that they may have, but also taking into consideration their well-being emotionally, mentally, that sort of stuff,
Mm.
and working with them. So that's also another reason why I just love it.
It certainly sounds like there's many different, as you already said, there's so many different things that you could sort of pursue within that one
Yeah,
field that you'd
exactly.
never be bored. Sounds like you could have
Oh,
20, 30 separate sort of sub-careers in that
yeah,
one field.
exactly right.
I mean, I got to ask this. One of the biggest fears for a lot of people is public speaking, and a lot of girls in pageantry, the part they fear the most is interview. Have you had any, from your perspective, obviously you're confident speaking. Do you have any tips for anyone who's maybe not so great at public speaking, or maybe they even had a speech impediment, or stutter or something like that? So having the confidence to get out and speak publicly or interview, would you have any tips, for people like that?
Yeah, I mean, I still get afraid of interviews, and it's still one of my favorite sections as well. But my biggest tip is just to know exactly not just who you are, but what you stand for. And if you are
Mm.
confident in yourself, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. If you're confident within yourself, just focus merely on yourself, what you have planned. Don't let anything or outside noise distract you. And if you do have a speech impairment or a language, or if you stutter or anything like that, just, it's hard when you don't know what sort of, for example,
Yeah.
stuttering. Allow it to be a strength of yours. Bring it to the table that you're in the interview. Like, I have a stutter, but I'm still not afraid to talk about it. I'm still
Mm.
here. I know what my platform is, and I know I have a voice for what that I stutter. So this is me, and this is what I stand for. And if you stutter, then, you know, for some reason you're showing your true colors, but they will appreciate the fact that you've come forward and you've been like, this is me. I'm unapologetically me.
Yeah.
And this is what I am here to do, why I'm here. Don't compare yourself and be like, oh, what are you talking about to other people? And I've had that in pageants where people have been like, oh, so what's your platform? Or what do you stand for? Or I don't know what to
Mm.
say. Stuff. But, go wholeheartedly knowing, this is me. This is what I stand for. This is what I love and my passion. And this is what I
Yeah.
want to bring. But I'm not going to listen to anybody else. I'm just going to embrace what I have in my life,
Yeah.
and what I educate people on.
Yeah, that's really true. I think it's really a bad idea to compare your platform.
Yeah,
I think I've seen a lot of girls fall into that trap of, oh, that platform is so big or so good, and my platform's
yeah,
not good enough. And then it's
yeah,
not about that. You have to find something that resonates with you on a personal level, not try and
exactly.
find the one that will get you the most brownie points, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah. And that happens often. I always hear girls being like, oh, I just don't feel like my platform, like, everybody, or people, like, everybody has my
Mm.
platform is,
Yeah.
empowering, and,
Yeah.
being bullied or something at school. And
Yeah.
I still find that such an important message to bring across. I was
Mm.
bullied at school, and when someone talks about it, I'm still captivated. It's how you captivate the judges.
Yeah.
So, how you bring your own edge to it. Every girl can say, oh, I was bullied at school, and I'm here to show women that were bullied that they can still come and compete, but put your own spin on it. That's how you're going to get
Yeah.
across the line. I've always said that to any girl that's asked me for tips or anything, and be like, just
Mm.
put your to it. You don't have to be, just because your platform is the same, or similar to other girls, you're still going to look different if you bring a personal thing to like your personal experience.
Exactly.
No
Yeah.
one's going to have experience as you. So bring your own personality and your personal experiences to the table, and they'll love you for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like to say everyone can have the same platform, but only you have your story. And it's a story that will set you apart, as you said. And I think
Exactly.
that's very true. Brooke, I want to ask you about your experience at Global. If you can just sort of
Yeah.
walk us through what happened on a day-to-day basis, because I'd love to know, just for my own personal selfish reasons. Just before we get to that, Mel here has said, loved watching you at internationals. You did such an amazing job. What do you feel makes you different to the previous Global queens?
Oh, I love Mel too. She was also in our MAP Royal Court. She is such a gorgeous human being. And I know that she's going to come back this year or for 2023. And I'm excited to
Hmm.
see what she does. And I'll be with her every step of the way. What makes me different to all the previous global queens? I mean, all of them, such high expectations every time, coming along each line. Danica was fantastic. Michaela was
Yeah,
incredible. All of the girls have been amazing. It's hard to come in and be like, wow, now that I'm a global queen, what am I going to do? So
yeah,
I think I'm different in my platform, what I bring to the table. The message that I have about communication. I think that's been different to everybody else.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's a good question. I love it when I get stunned on some questions. I think, yeah, my main thing is probably my platform, because all of us queens, we all sort of have the same sort of um, integrity and motivation, and all of our qualities align. So it's hard to say if your quality is different because we all have very similar qualities and
Of
ambitions and
course. Yeah.
because that's why we were crowned, because we have that goal and we have that motivation. So it's but yeah, I think the platform and um, yeah, maybe because I'm becoming a speechy, or I can't even say my destination because the gorgeous Michaela is also from Melbourne. So yeah, it's hard to pinpoint an exact thing, but yeah, I think
Well,
everyone's
that's
platform.
enough. I mean, the
Yeah,
platform, as I said, I mean, I've interviewed a lot of pageant girls, and I'm pretty sure you're the first, as you called it, speechy. I didn't realize that was a, that must be
it,
a very Australian
it is
colloquialism.
Australia.
Speechy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you noticed, being an Aussie queen, that us Aussies, what we're famous for is that, well, actually, as a speech pathologist, have you noticed that we can't say, for example, water? It's always water. The way
water.
our unique Aussie accent, and how we have to shorten
Yes,
everything.
yes, very evident in internationals, especially because everyone actually said to me though, "Gosh, you're so clear to understand, but you also shorten everything." So
Uh,
sometimes I don't understand what you're saying. But it was a massive compliment to be told that, but lots of people also didn't know what a speech pathologist was. So I had to explain to lots of people and try
mm.
and to educate a lot of the international girls what a speech pathologist was.
Oh,
But
wow.
that's why you're so clear and so understandable. And but also another thing that internationally, I think a lot of girls that are either going or have been is that we talk very fast. Lots of
Mhm.
girls that English is their second language, and I'm talking to them and
Uh-huh.
they're looking at me like, yeah, okay.
You can
And they're
just see the eyes glaze over.
like, and I ended up being able to tell, and I'm like, I'm talking too fast, aren't I? And they'd be like, yes, please slow down, or don't use such big words, please. And I'm like, okay, I'll say it again. So that was really nice, and I felt really privileged as well that English was my first language, or is my first language. It's
Mm.
the only language I can speak. So, but I also found it so culturally liberating that there were so many countries that spoke. There were some girls that spoke 9 languages over there. Like it was just insane, and seeing all the cultures and all the different accents and everything like that. It was just amazing. And I mean, Aussies always got commented on our accents, and Indonesian people love Aussies. So they would always just be like, oh my God. And every international girl telling you, every international girl, when they saw my sash say Australia, they're like, oh, g'day, mate. Or they
Oh
try
God, yeah.
and say it, and they'd be like, I can't even not say it Australian. They'd be like, "Good
Yeah.
day, mates," and I'm like, "No, no, you're so
I've
cute, but no."
I've had the exact same experience. First off, people confuse me for being British. They
You don't,
can't seem to tell the difference between Aussie and British. And then when I tell them that I'm Australian, it's like, oh, g'day, mate. Throw a
yeah,
shrimp on the barbie. It's like,
yeah,
oh, crikey. I'm like, you know, well, I don't know if you do, but I don't talk like that in
no,
normal life. Like, I don't know anyone who does.
no, no, yeah, I don't really talk like that. But yeah, internationals, what you were asking me the question.
Yeah.
Basically, Miss Global, it went for about 10 days, but I was there for about 2.5 weeks.
Mhm.
And that whole time we were kind of doing touristy stuff as well as we had our prelim competition. So the prelims basically decides the top 25, but you don't find out the top 25 until the final night. So
Right.
um, the prelims night had, national costumes, swimwear, evening wear, and all that sort of stuff. So, in between all of that, we had photo shoots, we had appearances, and that sort of stuff. And Miss Global, as a organization, pride themselves on our appearances. And by what I mean appearances is how we present ourselves, how we
Yeah.
speak, how we act with the media, but also, how we dress and everything.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
so how we communicate with locals, media, that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah, we went to lots of tourist places. And then after prelims, there was so many rehearsals. Oh, anyone that's ever been to internationals will know there's lots of rehearsals and lots of blisters. And after that, we had the final night, which was incredible. I had no expectations really going into internationals. I was just happy to be there, to be honest. I
Yeah.
was full of love and full of gratitude and grateful. I was just grateful beyond belief. So I had the lovely Michaela, the 2019 Miss Global Australia, but she's also fourth runner up,
Hmm.
2019, 2020. So she came along to Bali with her beautiful parents and was my support, which was amazing to have. And she's my lifesaver. Um, and she was there to help everyone, not just me, but everybody backstage.
Yeah.
And we announced top 25, and from top 25 we had sportswear and evening wear again. So evening wear was sort of judged twice.
Hmm.
um, so we had that, and then it was cut to top 10, but was actually top 13. So Miss Global had a really weird system, if anyone noticed,
Yeah.
and they were, why is there 13 people? Because they had the wild cards, which
Yeah.
was like sisterhood vote, the judges' saves, and then the votes from just the public. So
Yeah.
there was top 13, which we then had our question and answer, which was all sort of revolved around Miss Global.
Hmm.
And from that top 10 or top 13, we had our top five. And then the top five did our interview, not interview, our question and answer is actually a little bit different. Our director, who's Van, who
Yeah.
organized or runs Miss Global, he wanted to input something a little bit different. So we actually had a quote that we had to interpret. So mine was by Maya Angelou. And I cannot even remember it for the life of me. It's something about if you wanted to be something about not being normal, or you'll never fully be yourself if you're normal or like everybody else. It's
Hmm.
all sort of a blur.
Yeah. I can
So
imagine.
yeah, it's a bit of a blur. And then we had our presentation, which was then the crowning and stuff like that. So, but then from there, the girls that were in the top five and also 2021 winner, we did our royal court. So we had our
Hmm.
trip and we did a lot of appearances and stuff like that. And we soon go to, I was actually meant to fly out tomorrow to Vietnam, but it's been postponed to August. So another trip with the gorgeous royal court is in the end of August. So I'm super excited about that. But I just love the global system, and I always will. And I'm a big, big advocate for how amazing it is to all the girls and how it has a special place in my heart. So when I do MAP 2023 and you crown the next Miss Global Australia, it's going to be hard. Because I'm so passionate about it, and now I understand what all the past queens have said. You have a massive it has a place in your heart, and you want to give it to someone that will share that love with you and
Yeah, of
truly
course.
embody what it means to be Miss Global Australia and take that with them, internationally. So I look forward to seeing 2023's lineup of all the girls, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that week and crowning the next one. But for now, I'm keeping my crown on for as long as possible and being the reigning, because I don't want to give it up at the same time.
Yeah, perfect. Brooke, just before we go to the final 10, is there anyone
Yeah.
that you want to give a shout out to for supporting you?
Yes, I mean, list could go on, but I'll make it short. So, I want to say, obviously, thank you to my family, my mum and my partner, Josh, especially. They've been a huge part of this crazy journey, especially the 2 months leading up to it. They've been such a huge support for me, and have really embodied what it means to be in pageantry, because this is their first time running too, so they're sort of learning as well, but they've really taken it on and been such huge supports. I want to thank my national directors, Sophia and Charlotte. They're huge supports for me, and they have been by my side, just a phone call away, and truly
Hmm.
a sister throughout this whole thing. Same with Michaela, Hannah, Danica, all of the past queens. They have been incredible, and especially my current sister queen, Courtney. She's incredible. She's soon to go to internationals, so I will be by her side socially, on social media, supporting her. And then also all of my sister queens from around the world, especially in Australia. They know who they are. They're incredible, and they've supported me, just with one message or a few messages commenting here and there. It means a lot to me. So I'm super, super grateful for any support that anyone gives me. I'm really grateful. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, your turn, queen that you are, to go through the final 10. Trying to make it sound really challenging when it's not, but okay, here we go. Question the first. What is your favorite word?
mm, Queen or fabulous?
Fabulous, really. That's a very
Fabulous.
British of you. Fabulous. They're always
Or
fabulous. Well,
like,
fabulous, darling.
yeah, or like shortened to fab. Like, oh,
Of
that's
course.
fab.
Yeah.
Like Australian fab.
There's a, us Aussies just can't finish a word, apparently. Question two. What is your least favorite word?
I don't really like the word can't. I mean, sometimes I use it, but I hate when I have to use it.
Yeah.
Hate when people say I can't do that. It's yeah. But also it's such a weird one. But my boyfriend will understand this. When he uses my name, or anyone that uses my name at the end of a sentence, like I just it sounds like from when I was a child and used to get in trouble. Like when you say like Brooke Elizabeth Rankin, like as in you're in trouble. So he'll be like, "Can you get that for me, Brooke?" And I just can't. Like it's such a weird thing that I don't like, but it's just like, no, why did you put my name at the end of that? Like what?
What?
It's such a weird.
Now my brain is just going do that at the end of every sentence, Brooke.
No. See that, like my brain, like one of my brain cells just died. Uh-uh.
Re- Why? That's fascinating. I wonder if that's some kind of condition. I mean, I'm not going to be unkind enough to you to do it at the end of every sentence, but I want you to know that I could, now that you said that. And
Thank
anyone watching, take note. And if you want to annoy Brooke, then she just give me, what a strange,
It's a
I've
strange
never.
thing. I don't know. I just can't, like, I feel like I'm getting in trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I
I
get
feel
the whole, like, I get when parents would say the whole name, yes, but the word at the name at the end of the sentence, that's the first
yeah.
time I've heard that.
It's a
Wow,
weird thing. I know. It's something you'll never see it
it is
again.
weird.
But yeah.
No, I won't be able to stop thinking about it. Okay, question three. In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Packages arriving. Oh, I love when packages arrive. Oof, that's the best. And food, of course. Being a foodie, I love it. But yeah, packages are the best.
You sound like an Amazon junkie.
I actually don't really get anything from Amazon, but every girl, every pageant girl will know when their pageant dress arrives in the mail. Oh,
Oh,
it's the best thing in the world. Oh, anything related to pageants arriving in the mail. That makes you want to knock off work early and just speed demon down the highway and be like, "I'm coming for you."
well, that's what turns you on. Question four, what turns you off?
Very egocentric people. I don't know, people that think they're better than anybody else for no apparent reason. Yeah, maybe. Oh, I hate the sound of like utensils dropping on the ground, like that dinging sound when people drop forks and stuff or something like that at a restaurant. That really no.
You should save that for the answer to the next question.
Oh no.
So we go question 5. What sound or noise do you love?
Um, I love when like the microwave or the oven is going up. I'm pretty sure Charlotte said that one too, and I thought, oh, that's such a good answer. Like that's definitely like I'm using that. That's definitely
Yeah.
one of my favorite. Or like because I work in as a cardiac technician, when I set up Holter monitors, they make this nice ring, and it's very like calming when it works, and it also that means I've done it right. So
Yeah.
makes this beautiful song. So I like that sound as well.
Okay. And then what sound or noise do you hate?
Yeah, probably the utensils dropping on the ground.
Okay. Question 7. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
um, Probably invisibility. I'm not sure why. I think maybe when I embarrass myself, I just like to be invisible. When I say something
Is that
stupid or something, I just want to go away. But I'd also love to be a genie to grant people wishes. Like that would be so nice. Like just to give people wishes and make them really happy. I think that would be nice.
Never thought. No one's ever given that answer before. Being a genie. That's also really smart because then you could grant your own wishes. Oh,
Exactly. You're catching on. It's
okay.
perfect for both
Okay.
worlds.
I was going to tell you the reason why anyone ever wants to pick invisibility is because they're quite mischievous. Only the mischievous ones want to be invisible so they can get up to stuff and no one knows. So,
Oh, I didn't think of that. I thought more of like if I embarrass myself, which is more if anyone knows me, it's just more aligned with me.
have you had an embarrassing moment within the last 24 hours?
Not that I can think of, maybe because I just mentally made myself invisible.
Okay. Question 8. What job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I'd love to be a Pilates instructor. I think that would be really fun. Yeah, I do Pilates, reformer Pilates, and I love it. And I think it'd be so much fun to do that. So I would love to be a Pilates instructor.
I love the equipment in Reformer Pilates. To me, it always
Yeah,
looks like a torture dungeon with all
yeah,
these the racks and the things and the springs, and you've got to put your hand in there and put. It's like, oh
yeah.
wow, this is like
Love
a
it. I
torture
love
dungeon. Question 9. What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
Probably being a surgeon. Too much pressure. Like your life is in like you have someone's life in your hands and so
Hmm.
much can go wrong, or yeah, it would just be way too stressful for me. Or being a paramedic, that seems really stressful. Like they're all in the health field and I'm like, nope, definitely cross those ones out. They're not. So yeah, too much pressure for me.
Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh. Hey Queen. I don't know. That's a hard one. I'm not sure. Probably Hey Queen. Or yeah, probably that's that's all I can think of. Maybe something to relate to food. Like there's a buffet. Buffet is open 24/7. Oh, heaven.
I've had that answer before. Heaven is
Oh,
a
really?
buffet, and you can eat as much as you want and not put on weight.
Oh,
That's
100%. Yep, that's it. That's the one.
oh, perfect. Well, Brooke, that's it. Thank you so much for your time and for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure. And I will keep you on the line for just a second whilst I hang up with the audience. But thanks to everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay. And we'll speak to you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Hey,
Bye.
thanks so much for watching. Sorority Access is now open. So if you'd like to join an amazing group of women and learn how to be the most powerful, confident, and impactful queen possible, head to thepageantsorority.com. I'll see you there and see you in the next video.